What? Prosecutor Von Karma? You mean... No, I heard it's his successor this time. Successor? Manfred Von Karma was a really sinister man. He pulled all sorts of nasty tricks so he could win. He was a man obsessed with the word perfection. Got a perfect record for 40 long years. Who knows what sort of dirty tricks he used to get each of those guilty verdicts. And now a successor. I wonder what kind of person they'll turn out to be. It's no good. Mystic Maya. Pearly. You showed up. Thanks for coming all the way. I was really worried about you. Hey, where's your mother? Didn't you two come together? Mother's watching over the trainees. She said they have training for 2 days straight with no breaks. Huh? Then you came all by yourself? Yep. I snuck out of the manor and followed a map. Don't tell me you walked all the way here. Of course not. I ran. That's... oh my. If it takes 2 hours by train... Jeez. Apparently, what about the train? Huh? What's a train? I give up. It's time, isn't it? I'm really scared. What if Von Karma tries to do something to me? At least I know if Mr. Edgeworth would be nicer to me than Lester Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth? Who's that? He's Nick's rival. Well, he's also a friend. Objection! I still remember him as though I'd only seen him yesterday. Every trial was a scorchingly fierce battle until the very end. It was always back and forth with him, but your rivals for life. Maya, please don't mention that name ever again. Huh? But why, Nick? Sorry, Maya. I forgot you don't know. He's gone. And he's not coming back. What? Wait, hold on a second. What's that supposed to mean? Court will commence shortly. Please proceed to the courtroom. Let's go. Now is not the time to talk about that anyway. Nick? And don't phrase it like that. He's a bit fed up with the system right now. He'll be okay. He's taking a break. He may not return to law, but Edgy's fine. Court is now in session for the trial of Maya Fate. Are the prosecution and the defense prepared? What's with this kid? Mr. Rat, are you prepared? Huh? Ah, yeah, Your Honor. Why does he always seem mad at me? Mr. Phoenix Wright. Right. You must be a little shocked because I have a woman, correct? Hold on, so she is the famed successor to Prosecutor Von Karma? I am Francisco Von Karma, the Zebrology. I see. I gave up my promising career in Germany and moved to this country for one sole reason. Revenge. Revenge? Is this about her father, Manfred Von Karma? If it's something of a personal nature, I'm sure you can... Ow! I am tucking. That's not winning your points with the judge. Unless it is. Which really, it may be. If you interrupt again, my whip will do the speaking for me. Please speak with your mouth like a normal person. I'm back of you. Yeah. Make no mistake, I will defeat you. Prepare to go down, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Prosecutor Von Karma, your opening statement, please. Those of Von Karma blood have only one fate. And that is perfection. Weird, I thought I was being beaten by me. The defendant, Maya Fey, will find no escape from her guilt on my watch. Very well. What is the defense's position? Your Honor, does the defense wish to enter a plea of not guilty? Yes? Foolish fool who foolishly dreams of foolish dreams. 10 minutes. I give the defense 10 minutes before it changes its plea. That's right. I'll have you running for the justified self-defense plea in no time. Justified self-defense? Plea usually reserved for when a person unintentionally kills in defense of themselves. We could very easily make a solid case that it was self-defense, but... The defense stands by the plea of not guilty, Your Honor. But the plea justified self-defense is to say you did kill someone. How foolish. If that's how you wish to play it, Mr. Phoenix Wright, then I shall now call the first witness. She's just as scary as her father. Like father, like daughter, I guess. Hey, Gumshoe. Witness, your name and occupation. Yes, sir. My name's Dick Gumshoe. I'm a detective at the local precinct. Dak! Stop it! Let's get to the point already. He was identifying himself. Explain to the court the details of this murder. Yes, sir. If everyone would please look at this map. The channeling chamber has no windows and the door was locked shut. At the time of the murder, only the victim and the defendant were in the room. Okay, that actually puts Maya in between the perpetrator and the board. So it's not just a missed shot from her. What were they doing in there? They were channeling a spirit, sir. Channeling a spirit? That's quite the look of disbelief there, Your Honor. Anyway, a few minutes after the channeling started, gunshots were heard coming from inside the room, sir. A few of the witnesses broke the door down and rushed into the room. That's when they found that the victim was already dead, correct? I believe this is one of the most open and shut cases I have ever presided over. Oh, Judgy Wudgy, I'm about to make your life a living hell. The floor plan's added to the court record. So, how was the victim killed? I was about to get to that. Stop wasting my time then. The direct cause of death was a pistol shot to the forehead, sir. The shot was fired from point-blank range. But before the victim was shot, sir, he was stabbed in the chest. The wound was very severe, but not enough to cause instantaneous death. The murderer used the pistol to finish the victim off after the stabbing. So the victim was stabbed after being shot, before being shot. This is the victim's autopsy report, sir. Autopsy report. I should read that. The court accepts it into evidence. Mr. Wright, you may question the witness. Hold up one moment. They got shot in the face and stabbed in the chest. Thanks, autopsy report. Shot in the forehead. The murder weapon, Detective Gumshoe, whose pistol was it? It was the victim's. The victim? Now why would he have... Why would he have a pistol? Who cares? The point is that you are missing is those fingerprints are on that pistol. If you're not already paying attention to that, then I suggest you start. Fingerprints? There were fingerprints? Along with the victims, the defendant Maya Fey's were also on the grip, sir. So the defendant's fingerprints were left on the murder weapon. Walked right into her hands there. We gotta get more information, it's okay. Point blank. So, about how far away is that? Anywhere between 12 to 20 inches. How do you know he was shot at point blank? Tisk, 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 Mr. Phoenix Wright. I grow tired of the foolish foolery of the foolish fools of this foolish country. I You gotta come up with some other gimmick, girl. That's in German. Excuse me? Gunpowder burn. Gunpowder burn? When something is shot from point blank, the burn area is left around the bullet hole. Gunpowder explodes is what makes a bullet fire, and that gets real hot, pal. And there were definitely some gunpowder burns left on the victim's forehead. Never knew that. Live and learn, I guess. But before the victim was shot, sir, he was stabbed in the chest. What was he stabbed with? A fruit knife. I see. And whose knife was it? Looks like it belongs to the face, sir. And of course, Maya Faye's fingerprints are all over it. All over it, huh? This ain't looking good. What will you do now, Mr. Phoenix Wright? The wound is very severe, however. How severe? If it had been a half an inch more to the right, it would have hit the victim's heart. After a stab like that, it's impossible to fight back, let alone stand. Testimony makes it sound like Maya had stabbed him with the intent to kill. Are you sure he was stabbed first, then shot? Yep, sure as sure can be. One look at the wounds and you'd come to the same conclusion too, pal. Fool is a fool who will only listen to the foolish opinions of other foolish fools. A pistol shot to the forehead at point blank is certainly enough to kill instantly. Does it matter then which was first? Think a little more before you open that big mouth of yours, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You gotta get all the facts. We have clearly established how the victim was murdered. I brought the two murder weapons with me today. Very well, the court accepts them into evidence. Pistol. Knife. The date and time of death was June 19th at 3:15 p.m. Eyewitnesses claim to have heard 2 gunshots at this time. And 2 murder weapons, both with the defendant's fingerprints on them, huh? This does seem like an open and shut case. Naturally. This is going from bad to worse. As if the summary just now wasn't oversimplifying things to the extreme. Your Honor, feel free to slam that little gavel of yours. After all, there is no room left for doubt, is there? That is quite true, Mr. Rat. Yes, even in the face of all this, do you still wish to plead not guilty? It is the opinion of this court that if you do not adjust your plea, you stand to lose. See, just as I promised, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You will change your plea in less than 10 minutes. What will you do, Mr. Rat? Will you change to justified self-defense? Because now would be the time to do so. This is your final chance. I better think this one through. No. If we plead justified self-defense, we would basically be confessing the murder. After the trial, Maya's life would be ruined, and she'd be labeled as a murderer. I can't let that happen. Your Honor, have you reached a conclusion, Mr. Rat? The defense will not change its plea. We will accept nothing short of a complete acquittal. Ow! Fucking stop it! You have sealed your fate, Mr. Phoenix Wright, detective. Yes, sir. Present the final portion of your testimony. The final strike. I can't do accents, in case you haven't noticed. Yes, sir. See here, proceedings are run by... Ah. Yes, of course, go ahead, detective, and give your testimony. I think the court would like to hear about the other piece of incriminating evidence. Sorry, pal, but there's an even more incriminating piece of evidence. This is the costume that the defendant was wearing at the time of the crime. As you can see, it's covered in blood. The defendant attacked and killed a person who, without a doubt, wasn't fighting back. So this is the costume. There certainly is evidence of a black spray of blood on this. This piece directly links Maya Faye to the crime, sir. I see. The court accepts this into evidence. Maya's costume added to the court record. Alright, Mr. Rat. Maya's fingerprints on both murder weapons and blood splatters on her clothes. Could the situation get any worse? What's wrong? You seem to be at a loss. I think this is the last piece of testimony the prosecution should have to offer. Feel free to soak off with your tail between your legs, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Please stop calling me by my full name, it's disturbing. Francesca. Doesn't... It's weird. Even more incriminating piece of evidence, I want to look at things. Gun. Knife. Clothes. Why didn't you say so in your testimony earlier, about this super incriminating piece of evidence? Kinda scary today, you know, pal. Come now, Mr. Wright, there is no need for that kind of attitude in my court. Alright, just stop glaring at me like that. Maya's costume. Yeah, she was wearing this when we arrested her. Maya, she's wearing her channeling costume today too. Is she not allowed to wear anything else? There's blood on the costume. Lab results show that it was the victim's blood. So there is blood from the victim on the defendant's clothes. Definitely not good. So, were there any other clues you could glean from this piece of evidence? Well... If you must change the topic, then the good detective here must testify again. But too bad, not enough time. Let's move on. Yes, Miss Von Karma is perfectly correct. Oh, even the judge is on her side. But if I bite off more than I can chew here, what should I do? Why is Miss Von Karma suddenly putting up resistance? There must be a reason as to why she suddenly threw out an objection like that. Something about the costume. I just have to look harder. Mr. Wright, Miss Von Karma's logic is perfect. There's no way for you to poke a hole in it. Looks like my time's up. About the costume. Your Honor, actually there is something very wrong with this piece of evidence. What? What are you talking about, pal? Where is this problem you're talking about? I've come this far, there's no turning back. The problem I have with this piece of evidence is here. The bullet hole that I now see. Hooray! I asked the court to please take a look at the sleeve of this costume. The sleeve. There's a tiny hole here. Hole? That wasn't in the report. Hold on. What's this around the hole? It smells faintly of gunpowder. Gunpowder? No one ever told me. A hole that smells of gunpowder? It looks like I found the hole I was looking for. Your Honor, the only logical conclusion you can make is that it must be a bullet hole. Order. This is a very grave matter. It's best we correct the court record first before anything else. Court record updated. Sorry about that. Guess we messed up, sir. She actually smiling? What else is she hiding? Pull yourself together, detective. That tiny hole doesn't change a thing. The strength of the evidence still holds. Continue with your testimony that just now was a fluke, nothing more. How can you say something like that? This is a huge oversight. Well, I agree it is a mistake on the part of the police. What Prosecutor Von Karma has said is true. The evidence still stands. If you do not find a more definitive problem with the evidence, then... no way. Detective Gumshoe, please continue with your testimony. Yes, sir. He wasn't fighting back. How do you know if he was or wasn't? We could find no evidence that the victim put up any sort of a struggle, pal. So did the murderer have a fight with the victim or not? Depending on this, the circumstances around this murder changed drastically. We're in trouble. Boop-a-doop-boo. That should be the gown. There's so much evidence, so quickly. Yep, that's certainly it. Detective Dick Gumshoe. Yeah? Having you call me by my full name is kind of a weird feeling. You said that my client killed a person who, without a doubt, was not fighting back. Yeah, I did. Then what, may I ask, is the bullet hole you police overlooked supposed to mean? What's it mean? I'll tell you. It means that the victim had fired off a shot. Is this what it means to not fight back? Yeah, you're right. Seems you are correct. If the victim had tried to shoot the defendant, then it would change everything. Alright, the wind seems to be shifting. What is with that "are you finished yet" laugh? Are you finished yet, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Miss Von Karma? It seems that Maya Fey was shot at by the victim. However, that is only grounds enough to support a justified self-defense plea. That is correct. But I'm sure you remember, Your Honor, what the defense clearly said. They rejected justified self-defense and pleaded not guilty. Why, that's right. Which means the defense has yet to prove anything at all. Yeah. Well, that's true. Furthermore, just the fact that there is a bullet hole in the costume is not enough to substantiate even a plea of justified self-defense. Huh? How so? That! Don't just stand there. Hurry up and tell the court what transpired that day. With the new information we have acquired added in, of course. You mean by myself? You want me to put together the scenario all by myself? Dad, stop hitting me. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. During the channeling, the defendant saw her chance to stab the victim in the chest. Of course, the victim used the last of his strength to fight back. While the two were fighting, the victim took out his gun. The victim took a shot, but because they were too close, he missed. The defendant then picked up on the opening, took the victim's gun, and ended it. The scenario you have put together does make sense. Yes, sir. Well, Mr. Rat, on the surface it does seem to make sense. However, I won't give up that easily. Please refrain from glaring at me like that. Now then, your cross-examination, please. Pressing all the things, Gumshoe. Now you're doing your best here. That's quite a difference in height between Mr. Gray and the defendant. And in body strength, and it seems unlikely the defendant could have stabbed the victim. Now you mention it, yeah, I guess. You think you can get away with such flimsy reasoning, Mr. Phoenix, right? Maya Fey was in the middle of channeling, was she not? When channeling was the Kirin channeling technique, the medium physically changes. With the nurse's build, the defendant could have easily been a match for the doctor. Don't believe it. She even studied up on the Kirin channeling technique. Like I said before, I am perfect. About what you were talking about. I don't quite get it. Never mind, let's continue with the testimony. So he was stabbed, but the stab wound didn't kill him. But if you think about the blood loss, he was probably hurt pretty bad. How badly hurt would you say he was? Actually, I went to give blood the other day, and afterward I felt a little lightheaded and dizzy. I guess the damage was maybe about 10 times the dizziness. Ah! Sorry. While the two were fighting, the victim took out his gun. Where in the world did that pistol come from? Looks like the victim, Dr. Gray, had specifically brought it for that day. About a handgun? He got it off the black market about 2 days before the murder. Why did he bring a gun? Was he taking precautions against something? The victim took a shot, but because they were too close he missed it. He was there to kill ghosts. So you're saying the bullet hole in this costume was made then? Sorry pal, but that's what I think. The two of them were already fighting when a shot was fired. Glad you weren't hurt. Maya has never fired a gun before in her life. The victim had already taken off the safety. With the safety off, even an amateur like you could fire it just by pulling the trigger. Even me. I wonder. Now do you understand? Avant Karma's logic is perfect. This testimony certainly makes us look very bad, but there's gotta be a contradiction in there somewhere. And uncovering it's gonna uncover the truth. During the channeling, the defendant saw her chance to stab the victim in the chest. How... well, she can't see or do anything in the channeling, technically. But that's... something that's probably not gonna let me play with. Has to be strength to fight back. Guess they were too close, he missed. Is this where the stuff I was talking about earlier is coming into play? With the floor plan? Ah, you're not gonna give me the things this time. It had him on the left, her on the right. Right? Yeah. But that wouldn't really mean that it does anything. Wait. That's really close to the ground. And if it hit her in the sleeve, if they were both sitting down, then... it would have hit higher. So it sounds more like he was trying to execute her. How do I get that across? Of course, still, that would mean his plan was to literally kill a ghost. Which, come on, what the fuck you doing? You got another one for me, costume? Because of that weird sleeve location? Missing the tiny hole on this costume will be the prosecution's undoing. Eh? What do you mean? This little hole has actually created a huge hole in your testimony. Explain yourself, Mr. Rat. You said the two of them were fighting when the victim fired his gun at point blank. If that were true, then where's the gunpowder burn on the costume? Hidden by the blood. Gunpowder burn? This is what you testified earlier. If something shot from point blank, a burn area is left around the bullet hole. Oh. But there's not a single trace of gunpowder burn on the costume. That's a very good point. And what exactly does this mean? It means that when the shot was fired, they were standing apart from each other. I'm disappointed, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You think you can punch a hole in my logic with that? With wishy-washy thinkings like that, anyone can explain anything away. Then I implore you to disprove my line of thinking. Let's see. In the middle of their fight, the victim pushed the defendant away. And it was then, when they were separated, that he fired. How was that? As if that was even possible. According to testimony, the wound from stabbing was very severe. The victim wouldn't have had the strength to push the defendant very far after that. Well, then... that's right. The defendant must have pushed the victim away. After stabbing him, She must have put some space between the doctor and herself. And then, while she was preparing to strike again, the doctor took your shot. There. That should satisfy even you. That does make an awful lot of sense. What do you think, Mr. Rat? I must be careful. Can't afford to make a mistake. Concentrate. Nah, something wrong here. There's a fatal flaw in her argument, Your Honor. Fatal? Flaw? Ow! Very interesting. I would love to see where this flaw is. Show me something that contradicts my explanation. It's got a snag somewhere. She put some distance between them before rushing to make the final blow. And when she was about to strike, the doctor took a shot. Piece of evidence that contradicts the line of thinking. The fact that this is on the ground. What's that? A folding screen? I would like to point the court's attention to the hole in the folding screen. Looks like you already know what I'm talking about. Who, where, what? Mr. Rat, your explanation, please. Are these two really that clueless? The bullet went through the defendant's sleeve first, then the folding screen. It passed through at a height of approximately 8 inches off the ground, which means... when the shot was fired, Maya, the defendant, was not getting ready to strike, but was squatting low to the ground. Order. This changes everything. Please look at this diagram of the crime scene. The victim, Dr. Gray, was here when he fired the shot. And the bullet hit this folding screen. Right about here, 8 inches off the ground. At this time, the defendant was in this area. Somewhere around here. Judge's face is scrunched like he just smelled some serious bad breath. That is, I forgot to brush this morning. Excuse me while I freshen up. Sure. In the meantime, I want you to think things through again. Yeah, sure. Over here? Here near the folding screen? Wait a second. We know the defendant was close to the ground based on the height of the bullet hole, but how can you gauge the distance from that? Isn't it possible that the defendant was standing much closer to the victim? That's impossible. But why? You of all people should know the answer to that question, Ms. Von Karma. If she were shot from somewhere closer, there'd be gunpowder burns present. 20 inches ain't that far, buddy. However, there's nothing of the sort around the bullet hole in this costume. Curse you, Mr. Phoenix, right you? I believe it has now been proven that the defendant was standing a ways from the victim when she was shot at. But do you think this has changed the defendant's situation? Yeah. Honestly, Your Honor, this changes everything. The prosecution has claimed that the defendant was aiming to kill by stabbing. If that were true, delivering the final strike with a knife would be ideal. However, where and what was the defendant doing at that time? Squatting all the way by the folding screen? Exactly. If Maya Fey was the real murderer, why would she be by the folding screen instead of preparing to strike? Yes. Upon further consideration, it does make very little sense. Yeah, I figured there had to be a reason. Figuring things out and proving the logic behind everything is your job. Alright, with this, the rest of the trial should be in the blast radius of disaster! You are such a smart man, Mr. Phoenix, right? To think that you have been able to take a completely hopeless case to this point. Now I know why Papa had a tough time with you. You amuse me. Of all the things to inherit, why did it have to be the smarmy smile? Stop it. Detective, how dare you damage my perfect logic? Huh? How's it my fault? You can start by repairing your standing by first removing that grease-stained goatee. Oh, and rest assured, your punishment will come later. Punishment? Well then, Your Honor, I think I've had all I can take of this detective's face. I think it is time to call in the next witness. Next witness? That's gotta be Lotta. Very well. This court will take a 5-minute recess. After we reconvene, we will hear from the next witness. Doodaloo-doodoo-boo. I have a sandwich I need to eat. I can make a cut here, and then finish the next one in the next episode. Just upload both the videos relatively close together, so that there's not like, why are we having to wait a day for the other half of the same thing? Yeah, it makes sense to me. Do this. Woo.